Welcome to the Beauty Business Strategies Podcast. I'm Christy Hardy, and today I am joined with a special guest, Christi Newell. So we're double Christian today. Christi is the owner of a Glo Spa and Salon, and we are going to be talking about leadership and creating an incredible environment to enhance and produce incredible leaders within our beauty business. So welcome, Christi. I'm so excited to have you here today.
Thank you so much for having me.
And it's always so weird for me to go, hello, Christi. Hello, Christi, right?
I know. I keep hearing Christi too when I'm turning, to look. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, we are so honored to have you here with us.
Thank you.
Today.
I'm so honored to be here, to be part of this. So thank you.
We're going to talk a little bit about leadership, but I want to start with, tell me a little bit about a Glo.
Yeah.
How it kind of evolved, what your team is like, because I think that's going to be really important for our viewers and our listeners to understand, kind of like help them paint a picture of how you created this need for leadership.
Mm-hmm. We, a Glo Spa Salon started as a different name in a different location back in 1999 with 6 employees. We currently have 45 employees.
Wow.
So yeah,
congratulations.
So it's like a ton of growth, but the biggest growth has come in the last 10 years since we started working with strategies.
Okay.
So 10 years ago we had 22 employees, I believe. Yeah. So we have doubled in that amount of time.
That is awesome.
So
now you've transitioned, you are team-based pay model, correct?
Yes.
And tell me a little bit about how that impacted your business.
Oh my word. So if you heard, when we did the awards last year, the awards last year, I ended up getting on stage telling a little bit about how I bootlegged strategies information for quite some time. So we went team-based pay probably 20 years ago, or at least 15, 20 years ago, and switched over to that model. But I did not have the culture piece at that time.
And the systems and everything.
Yes. Yeah. So 10 years ago is when we actually signed up and did the coaching, and that's when the magic started to happen.
Tell us a little bit about that magic.
So it was growth, it was systems, it was looking through the windshield instead of the rear view mirror, and just having that support was incredible.
Good.
So, yeah.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we are glad that you are part of strategies and team-based pay.
Thank you.
But what we really want to talk about today is I want to hear from Christi about her leadership team and how you have very much designed an environment where leadership, not only in yourself, but in your team members, is a priority. Why'd you feel like you needed to create a leadership team?
We were growing quickly.
Yeah.
I was completely overwhelmed and just couldn't do it on my own. Also, I love the idea of pouring into others, watching others be able to grow, use their gifts and talents. And so I started to just approach everything like, how do we develop leaders?
Yeah.
And so that was really
awesome.
The start of it anyway.
Yeah. So how do you develop leaders?
Yeah. So I don't have an exact science to it.
Okay.
It's it's really just watching people's performance, how do they rise to the top? Like, who are the people? And then literally creating a position for them that is an advanced position.
Love it.
And so then strategies has allowed that to happen because they're paid hourly. So you can give them projects, you can do everything. They don't have to be hands-on and you're worried about pulling them off the books and things like that. That's been great. So watching that, and then also knowing always looking at when Neil talks about like, what's your exit strategy? Like, what am I doing all by myself? What do other people, like, what can they take off my plate? So lots of discussions about what's on your plate, what now can you push off onto someone else that will help them to grow? And so that's been the most rewarding part of being an owner now.
Yeah.
Than that.
I love that. We did that something similar, and I was a general manager, so I got to work side by side with an owner who did something very similar, where she would find what our strengths were and then do exactly what you said, create a position of leadership and growth opportunity within the business. Because what we were recognizing, and as we continued to grow, was people can get stuck.
Yes.
They can get stuck behind the chair. They can get stuck in a treatment room. They can get stuck in a cycle and then fall out of love with what we do. So when we can pull that information of where is their strength and be able to create something that is opportunity.
Yes. Yes,
Right?
you're so right, because that's where they would start to get kind of bored, and you would see it. And I'm like, they're going to leave, like, because they're going to want more.
Yeah.
So how do we create that here? So that is one little filter we started to run things through, like, what would make this your dream job? To stay here forever, you know, or as long as it still fits you and your life and what you're craving and hungry for.
Now, are most of your leaders service providers as well, or do you have some that are strictly in leadership? How did they evolve to your leaders?
It's all different.
Okay.
It's been through front desk, and we've created guest care managers. It's been service providers. So initially it started with department, like your little leader in each area. So we do hair, skin, nails, massage, and then have a guest care team.
Okay.
And so just like letting, like, their first little responsibility would be do the order and, you know, help train the people in that department. And that's how it started. Well, that expanded even more. And so then as they were growing, then they were pushing that. They were seeing the next person that would come up that could do that. And then they were moving higher into the company, being involved in more administrative things too. So
That's awesome.
most of them who were service providers do still service provide, but much less than half time. So
How do you feel personally that having these key leadership roles have made you a better leader and have made the growth for a Glo really happen?
I get to have a lot more fun. So
Right.
just, I feel this release of, well, there's a few things. It's the pride in watching them grow.
Yeah.
And having those like,
Those, like,
proud
mama bear,
mama
right?
moments, yes, where I'm just like, oh my goodness, it's so neat to see that. And then also the release, we've experienced incredible growth, like quadrupled our business since we started coaching and doing all that. And I do believe it's from the leaders being involved and being able to spill it, because you can grow exponentially when you've got more people doing the work. Like if it was just me, still I'd be a stressed out mess, and we wouldn't have grown like we have. So
Absolutely. When we think about trying to do it by ourselves, it is completely overwhelming.
it's totally
Rolling
overwhelming.
that boulder up the hill, you cannot do it
Yeah.
by yourself. You have to have that team with you.
Yeah. And I've joked how I used to try to quit my job all the time. Like I'd walk in and try to put in my 2 weeks notice at the team meeting, you know, because I was just so overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And to be 25 years in now and be loving it more than I ever did, even in the beginning, I'm like giddy. So I'm getting called squirrely by
I love it.
because I'm having so much fun and so proud. And it's not always like that.
Yeah.
Like there's people that come and go, and then you're like, uh-oh, what are we gonna do? And then, so some people are like, I put a leader in place and then they leave. And that happens, people come and go. And so holding on loosely has been really wonderful, knowing like we get them for this part of their journey. And if it's not us forever, that's okay, because something else will happen and it's room for other people to move into things. And we've literally had like a general manager that I loved move away, and we took her position and divvied it out to everybody.
Good.
Until the next person rose to that role.
That's
And
huge.
That
Right.
was
Instead
so,
of trying to pinpoint someone else or what's
we
the word I'm
now
looking
have an
for,
opening
right?
for a general manager, someone apply. We didn't do it. We just divvied it out. We do the same thing when someone goes on maternity leave.
Love it.
Take your duties and choose who are the best people you think to do that. And it gives an opportunity for people to come forward with, I would love to do that, or I'm very interested in that.
I love that.
It's so much fun.
That is awesome. I think the most important thing for a leader, a business owner, is to continue to be the visionary.
Yes.
And with having the leadership team in place, it allows you to be the visionary. I know you joke about like, now I get to be squirrely and have fun, but it's really that you get to keep that vision alive for your entire team.
Yes.
And I think without really keeping the vision, it doesn't matter what people we have in place,
Right.
if we don't have a destination.
Yes.
And you get to be there's our destination, here's the star on the map, and you get these wonderful leaders in place that are like, I got you. I got your GPS. I see what you're seeing, and I can help you get there.
Yes.
That is incredible.
It's so great. And I have my brain is now allowed to go into more visionary because they are taking care of the daily tasks.
Good.
They're taking care. And it's also recognizing where like, what part do I not thrive in when I'm doing that? So
Yeah.
I'll give an example.
Please do.
One-on-ones for me, I love people. I could chat all day long with people one-on-one, but to do the consistent like follow through and meet with them, I would find myself incredibly drained.
Yeah.
And so my general manager, Laura, I ended up saying, I think you're the person to do the one-on-ones. And she said, I would love to. The growth that has happened from that, recognizing her gift and allowing that to be done by her, and she's thriving and is like gains energy from it where I was drained, has
Wow.
been the best thing ever.
That's
And so
incredible.
then I can just bring little things to her that I see, and then she implements and does she's much better with follow through.
I love it.
Yeah.
Right, because you get to be the visionary. You don't
Exactly.
need to
Then I
follow
get
through.
to still do the
Yes.
visionary things.
Yes.
And so another thing that I've done, so we do leadership meetings weekly, and we are very faithful with those. They're
Good.
2 hours long.
Very
We have
important.
5 people in the room. We invite people for portions of it instead of having them sit there the whole time if it doesn't pertain to their job. They're so honored to get to come in that leadership meeting, so it's really fun. And then we go through everything that we need to go through for the week, and so everyone's informed, at least if there's questions out on the floor. They have an idea of what's going on and where the company is going, and then they can lead that way. And I joke with them when I say, my goal is to be the dumbest person in this room, because if I know more than you do with the job that you're like leading, then I'm doing something wrong, because I don't have to do the daily operations anymore. I could if I had to.
Yep.
I would step in when the need is there.
Right.
But
In case of emergency, you
Yes.
break glass in case of emergency, Christi can come
yes,
back out.
yes, and
Yeah.
I won't be great at it. I'll be really slow, but I'll limp along and be able to have just enough knowledge to be able to do it, but I don't need all the nitty gritty of all of it.
Yeah.
And then I can just let them, and then I also don't micromanage them.
Okay.
So yeah, so the process of the whole thing is, and I don't know if I should go here or
Yeah,
not, but
let's
just
go.
the
People wanna hear about it.
Okay,
Yeah, absolutely.
So to share, like, you know, as owners, sometimes you're like are you a control freak? Do you have too much control? I literally went to a counselor and had temperament testing. Like,
Oh, wow.
Like what it was like
Just
this
to
whole other
see,
thing.
yeah.
Like, I know there's so many cool assessments out there too.
Yep.
Those have been so valuable for our team and for our leadership team, and how to communicate with our team. But anyway, I did this one and realized I was not a control freak, but I just needed to be in the know. And I said,
Yes.
that's it. I just need to know what's going on
Yes.
as the visionary.
Yes.
And I ended up doing that. So then I was like, okay, just inform me what's going on, and then I'm going to let you run with it. And then as you're learning how to do it, we're going to review it together, and then I'll release you when I know you've got it. And then when the weird things come up, just bring it to me, and we'll go through it together.
Yeah.
There's nothing better than being able to throw your hands up and go, good, you've got it, go. Like,
Awesome.
just go. Yep.
That is it's so empowering.
It is.
You know, you really watch people thrive and
They
grow
do.
themselves when they
Yes.
are empowered to make change
Yes.
and to
Yes.
have a part of leadership. It was a game changer for me too.
Yeah.
I felt like I knew wasn't the owner of the business. That was not my job. But I felt that this business was also part of me, and I was
Yes.
part of this business. And I spoke of it, if I wasn't in our team environment, I would speak of it as my salon and spa. I took
Yes.
pride in it, and I took pride in ownership when I didn't have the name at the bottom. But it was what it was, was that I was empowered.
Yes.
I was empowered to be a leader, to grow additional people, and that empowerment is a game changer. It's a game changer.
Yeah.
How do you communicate with your leadership team? You said you have a meeting once a week, so you're kind of all together in that. But how did you help them grow as individuals into leadership?
I honestly, that leadership meeting that we did, we take the first half an hour still to this day, and we do a podcast together with a study guide.
Awesome.
And we just continue to develop that way. It has allowed us to then get to know each other better, because oh my
Nice.
goodness, coming off of COVID, which I don't even like to talk about that, but that was a game changer for us too. When we came off of that, a whole new leadership team formed. Even though we didn't lose any staff, stuff shifted, like priorities and what really mattered and how we were going to do things, and found the need to meet and get together a little bit more as
Yeah.
we're navigating all of this. And then that's where the really committed people rose to the top. But doing that podcast and just going, because how do I get with everybody to develop them when we could do it all together? And then the way the team became very unified was so neat because we were getting to know each other better. And it became a safe space too, where I said, I don't want all yes people in this room. I want you to challenge me. I want to hear your ideas. And at first they were like, okay, yep. And then pretty soon now I said, I love when I can get a little rise out of people and get them actually talking like, no, I don't agree with that.
Yes.
And I'll be like, now we're talking.
Yes.
Like, let's talk, let's
Yes.
do it. Let's really get in this.
So
I want to really hear from you and I want to hear your ideas. And it might not be what we do, but it might be what we do.
Right.
And
or the evolution of it. When we put all the cards on the table, holy cow, we can make a full deck.
Oh, and it's been just beautiful to watch that safety happen there too, and how then they're spilling that out further where people feel safe in the space to grow and to make mistakes and know that nothing bad is going to happen and we're going to help you grow. That, you know, just keep trying and we'll get there.
Don't you really feel like safety is something that sometimes as leaders we forget is a priority?
Yes.
We're so focused on outcomes.
Yes.
We have to be better in this. We have to be better in that. We need to have more financial stability, whatever it is. And we forget that there's the human aspect of it.
Yes. And we did a little bit where we swung all the way the other direction, where we were sort of forgetting the outcomes and letting it just be about
too hard.
a little coddling,
Yeah.
like a lot of that going on. And so then in our leadership meetings, we talk about that too. Where are we at with all these business drivers? And are we holding people accountable enough, or are we just doing it all based on emotion? Like sometimes people actually need that accountability, because then they'll feel purpose in what they're doing and know that they got through to the other side and they made it and they're safe still.
Yes.
Even with that.
Exactly.
And then they're so proud. They're so proud of where they've come with us doing that appropriate push. Like, where is that? So we do a lot of discussion on that too.
Yeah.
So.
In your meetings with not necessarily just your leadership team, but maybe your leadership team with all of your team, how do they hold one another accountable?
You mean like in the department, like each department?
Yeah,
like
or
with
around different systems and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Do you find that there's different means of communication to help hold your team accountable?
Yes. So we implemented Slack back in October.
Great.
Yeah. And, you know, from our coach here, Melanie, she suggested it, I think 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And heard me complain, you know, session after session about how.
Let me tell you one more time.
Because 43 people, you can't just keep sending out emails. We needed something.
Yes.
And so we felt like that piece was really floundering for us. And that, I'm not kidding, within 2 weeks, we were like, how did we live without this?
Right.
And so we are very consistent with utilizing that to communicate in the way we created channels on there.
Okay.
Stuff that doesn't need to be face-to-face.
Yeah.
We just allow it all to go on there. Photos, audio, video, whatever we need to do. And people really participate in it.
That's great.
And it's not negative. It's really just like, it might be who left the dishes in the sink. Please don't do that anymore.
Right.
But we do that. And then with the leaders, we stay in touch. But one of my goals truly is to have a little more one-on-ones with the leadership team, and not like one-on-one, because we do accomplish a lot in our group meeting. So it's not as necessary, but not to lose that piece of individual development with them too. So I'm making a commitment right now.
You heard it here.
It's right here. It's on camera. So when they listen, they're like, Christi, you said we were going to have our
now we're going to hold you accountable.
Yes,
Christi,
exactly.
Right?
And I do beg for that. I think that 360 degree, like all of it, like leadership and accountability is really important. And that's what they did not do in the beginning. And they're finally starting to do that. But it takes time. It's been, you know, that was 5 years ago that we started this. I would say 3 years ago is when we really started to turn a corner, because we didn't know each other. And so you lose a few people here and there, you bring a new one in, and you're like, okay, this just changed the team a little bit. Where are we?
Dynamic and culture just shifted a little bit.
There's a lot of shifting, there's a lot of adapting, but it's all part of growth.
Yeah.
And so allowing that to happen and knowing it doesn't have to be so structured, but you need to pay attention to what's happening then and there and listen.
Yes.
And
it's all about communication.
It is.
Like everything that I've heard you say is communication, accountability, support, trust.
Yes.
We're building these key important factors
Yes.
to build this team
Yes.
to a nice, strong location.
Yeah.
This is incredible.
I know, I love it.
So I have one more question for you, and I have to put the glasses on because I want to get it right.
Okay, I might have to
So
put my glasses on to look at the answer.
So my question for you is, what advice would you give to another salon owner who is potentially a little hesitant about investing in leadership development? So
I did write something down for this.
because you
I
thought
wanted to
this
make
was
sure.
a good question.
I
know.
did. Okay, so here's what I wrote. Do it because it's less lonely. They become your people that you do. And that is incredible because we are so busy as owners that you don't end up with a lot of friends outside of work sometimes. And so they've become my people, even with 43 employees. And then it takes time, lots of time. Be willing, don't get discouraged if one shifts and it doesn't change. Just keep going and adjust as you go. And there are setbacks, and there's no definite roadmap, but it's so worth it. Like the freedom, I can be squirrely now, like I said, but also still then you can really, like we teach them, like get this off your plate so you can work on this. Like getting, I was never behind the chair, but getting out from behind the chair, like developing a leadership team, it's like getting out from behind the chair. You get to do the next like thing that you can really have that vision and that growth, and it just continues to grow. And then I have one more piece of advice that I forgot about that I was going to mention earlier. There's a couple like people that I read. John Maxwell had said, if someone can do it 80% as well as you, let them. And then this Craig Rochelle that I follow, his leadership podcast, and that's one of them that we use a lot in our our leadership meetings.
Yeah.
He says, I know John Maxwell says 80%. He said, I say 50% with momentum.
Yes.
And if they have that, you can coach them. Then you coach them through that. Let them do it. Let them have it. And then they will bypass you with that momentum. And that's my goal, is that they bypass.
I love it.
Yeah.
You're an incredible leader, Christi.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thanks for doing the work,
Of
because
course.
it is work.
It is.
And thank you for sharing.
Well, thank you so much.
Somebody out there is going, I'm feeling a little defeated. I'm feeling a little tired. How do I reinvigorate myself? And how do I bring people along for the ride?
Yeah.
So that it's a fun adventure.
It is. It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This has been awesome.
Oh,
if you want to hear more about how strategies can help your team continue to grow, hopefully just like Christi's team, go ahead and text us. In our link below, you will find a text option. So we would love to hear from you. And Christi, thank you again, and congratulations to everything that a Glo Spa and Salon has achieved and will continue to achieve.
Thank you so much. It's been my honor and pleasure.
Awesome. You're fabulous.
Thank
you
you
so much for joining us, and we'll see you again soon on the Beauty Business Strategies podcast.
Thanks again for listening to the Beauty Business Strategies podcast. If you like this episode, be sure to hit follow to learn more about how strategies can help create more fun, profit, and growth potential for you, your company, and your team. We invite you to schedule a free 60-minute strategy session by clicking the direct link in the description of this episode.